All right, what is going on today, chat? Welcome, welcome. Eric, Mill, welcome. Welcome in, everyone. Mike, what up, what up? Eric, what's going on? Hopefully your card arrives safe and sound. What up, what up? Got a lot of grade review to go over today. Hopefully my mic isn't crazy loud. My mic is like peaking right now. Hopefully it's not too bad. If I'm too loud, let me know. But what is up? Got a lot of new topics to discuss today. Received well, perfect. Not much, man. Got some big upcoming announcements that I'm going to be testing today before I make them official on episode 70 next week. So I'm going to be trialing some new grade review techniques today, as well as some cool announcements. So you guys get a sneak peek from what's to come next week. I'm going to try it with a few cards, but we'll try to entice and help you guys who subscribe test the waters, so to speak. So I think we're just going to get right into it. We got a lot to cover today, and I have a lot that I want to go over. So no time like the present. So welcome everyone to Grade Review. My name is Galaxy Gaming, and we are going to be reviewing some cards today on grading. So I know we got some frequent flyers, Mike, Eric, and the rest of you guys. So we're just going to hop right into it. So first up, yes. Yeah, I might, that's one of the things I might be talking about is possibly restructuring the pricing. But I'm still in the works of that. So we will see. So first up, we have the pilot tier. And my man Frazzle with the evolution line here. So as a reminder, if you guys are trying to grade your cards, the 4 main grading criteria are centering, corners, edges, and surface. So we're going to be considering all 4 of those today. And we're just going to get right into it. So first off is the Charmander, first edition. So let's take a look. So centering. So far, so good on that front. Edges, really good. Surface, nothing that I can tell. So pretty easy start. And then the back, zoom in just a tad. The back is also looking good. So the corners look good. The top right corner looks good. Top left corner looks good. This left edge, maybe a little bit of something here. So I'm not too sure what that is. That might be a fold. That might be a scratch. That might be nothing. I'm not too sure. But we have to consider it nonetheless. So we go to the bottom left. As we go to the bottom left, we do see a little bit of whitening here. So we'll mark that as we go. And possibly a little bit of whitening in the bottom right-hand corner as well. So on the left side, I don't really see much, but from a grading perspective, we're probably looking more at like an 8, just due to the fact that the front is good, but there is what I'm seeing, or what appears to be, a few points of whitening, especially on this left side. So using the pen tool here, I'm going to quickly mark exactly kind of what I'm talking about. So it's going to be more in this range on this side. So if we zoom in here, so we have 1, and we have, make sure you guys really get to see what I'm looking at here. So this was the other thing I saw too. I'm not too sure if this is a bend or a fold or a crease. I'm not too sure what that is. So that's kind of why I'm leaning more towards the 8, possibly a 7, depending on if that is an actual crease, but definitely an 8 to start. We do have a little bit of whitening here on that bottom left-hand corner. So we have 1, 2. So that's why I'm leaning more towards that 8 score. Not obviously a 10. Big win, thank you for the follow. And the likes, appreciate you. Welcome in everyone, Monkey, Jay. Welcome in, guys. We also have some whitening here on the right side as well. So far, I'd probably say that this is just shy of a 9, probably in that 8 range for the Charmander. And if you guys are new here, welcome. What you are watching is called Grade Review, where I help you and the community help assess your cards on how to grade them and what they possibly could get as a PSA grade. If you guys want to know more, just let me know in the chat. Be more than happy to teach you. So next up, we are on the Charmeleon. So I'm kind of evolving here. So again, the centering looks good. Nothing wrong there. Corners look good from what I can tell. So that top right side looks good. The top left also looks good. I have a little bit of there. So as we kind of scroll down, Allure, thank you for the like. Appreciate that. And anyone that's liked or shared or followed the live so far, appreciate that very much. At the end of the day, I'm here for you guys. So if you have any questions on what I'm doing, please feel free to ask in the chat. Be more than happy to answer any questions you guys might have. If you guys are enjoying yourself, please make sure to like. Definitely helps me with the algorithm. So the corners are really good. Again, another first edition stamp. They're still doing first editions in this era as it started to phase out. So the right side looking pretty good. The surface looking fantastic. Nothing wrong with that part. Nothing wrong with the text. So it's really just the back that we have to be concerned about. So let us zoom in just a tad. Look on this top right side. So top right corner looks really good. Top edge looks great. Top left corner also looks good. This left edge looking much better than the Charmander in the beginning. Bottom left-hand corner looking great. Bottom edge looks great. And the bottom right corner looks good. I'd say the only thing that I see, if I really have to be nitpicky, is we possibly have a little bit of whitening on that right side. So we're probably still maybe within that 10 or maybe 9 range, because I'm not too sure if it's on the backdrop or on the card. So we do have to kind of keep that in mind as we review this card. We also see something very similar on this left side as well, but again, that might be more on the mat than the card itself. But all in all, a really clean card. I'd probably say anywhere from a 10 to a 9 on that one. So not too bad there. So the Charmander so far, just make sure that I'm keeping track. So Charmander was around an 8. And then the Charmeleon, probably between a 10 to a 9. So then next up we have the Charizard. So let's see. So a lot more texturing on this one from the Radiant Collection. So we have a lot more that we have to kind of keep an eye out on for this one in particular. So let's take a look. I do as well, Mike. This is a really good artwork. So centering looking really good. Again, there's a lot more hollow in this one than the other one, so we have to be a little bit more careful, especially with the surface. But for the most part, we're just really looking at centering and corners. So corners look great. And again, if you guys are wondering what I'm doing, if you are new here, I am doing what's called grade review. So I'm reviewing cards of members in the Discord. So if you need help with grading, this is your opportunity to get some help for free. So definitely let me know if you're interested in how to join that. The left side looking clean. Bottom left corner looks great. Bottom edge looks great. Bottom right corner looking really good. So far, this is a, on the front at least, a really good PSA 10 contender. Shro, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. And I'm not seeing anything else wrong with the front, so very, very clean. Hopefully on the back, we also have a little bit of some cleanage. What's what? I honestly have no idea. The queue has been posted in the episode 69 thread, so if you want to take a look and see if I added you, that's the best way to see if I reviewed your card or if you're up for tonight. So the centering on this one is a little bit off. So the best way to tell if you guys are measuring for the first time on a Japanese card, so we're typically going to be looking traditionally on this side. So just as an example, we're going to just show right here. So we're really kind of going from here all the way right about here is normally the range. So right as soon as it starts to kind of go into that shadowed section, that is where you start to measure centering. So we also go from here to right about here. So you can kind of see if I zoom out a little bit, that is a little bit thicker on that left side than it is the right, but the back has a lot more wiggle room than the front does. So that is a good sign. So as we look here, so it's really just a centering, but I think we should be good if we're on paper. So top right corner looks great. Top left corner looks good. Left edge looks fantastic. Bottom left corner looks good. Bottom edge, fine. So the only thing that I'm really seeing is just the off center on the back. Let me just double check to make sure that it's not on the front, and it doesn't look like it is. So on paper, you do have a shot at a 10, but my gut would probably lean more towards a 9. The only reason why I say that is, yes, it's within that 75-25 ratio for the back, but as for the front, is really good, but I don't really trust that 75-25. It's more, in my opinion, more of kind of like 60-40 or 65-35, because I've kind of seen it go both ways, to be quite honest with you. So this would probably be in that 10-9 range as well, unless there are print lines or anything like that that we simply can't see, but it doesn't look like that is the case. So this is a really strong submission to be happy about. So next up, we have the Cadet tier. So we have the Dark Slowbro. As a reminder, if you guys are enjoying yourself, I definitely would appreciate you guys liking or sharing the live. Definitely helps me out, spread the word a little bit. And so we're going to get right into the darkness. What price raw for that? For the Charizard, I honestly don't know. It's Japanese. It'd take a little bit of time for me to look up at first glance. But that's why I just don't know on the top of my head. Alright, so the non-holo rare Dark Slowking. So let's take a look. Centering is great. No issues there. Top right corner looks good. Top left corner looks good. I just got 2 the other day for 50 each, just hoping I paid okay. Well, hopefully you did, because I honestly don't know on the top of my head. You can probably just look it up on the Pokemon Japanese section of TCG Player. Might be an easy way to do it. Or just look up eBay last sold. So, but Japanese makes it a little bit tougher. The top left corner looks good. Left edge looks really good. Bottom corner looks good. Bottom right corner looks good. So probably the only thing I see on the top right, though, I don't know if I said good, but I'm seeing it now. A little bit of folding or a little bit of whitening on that top right side, which most likely is a fold to some degree. Surface looks good other than that, though. What's what? Thank you for sharing the live. Appreciate you. So as we flip it over on the back, so old Japanese is super, super good at centering because you just look at the red line. I also got a Legendary Collection Holo Zard English for 170. Not sure if that is good. It's mint. Legendary Collection Holo Zard. I mean, I would imagine that's really good. Especially if you're saying it's mint. Top right corner looks good. Top left corner looks good. Left edge looks great. Bottom left corner looks good. Bottom right corner looks good. The only bit that I see is a little bit of whitening on that right side. So we're probably in that 9 range. But we really, when Mike kind of comes back, that might be lighting. But if it's not, that's probably maybe an 8. But if it is lighting and it's fine other than that, you might be, maybe long shot 10 or a strong 9 with that little bit of more predominant whitening on that right side. But it's very well centered on the front and the back. So that is a pretty strong card. I think for me, if there's anything worth submitting for vintage, I would say anything above an 8 is always a good. Back is dust, it's clean on that side. Okay, then if that is just dust right here, then unless there is anything else that I just simply can't see, the surface looks pretty strong, especially in this lit area. I don't see any surface scratches or anything like that that would cause me concern. So it looks really strong. So yeah, I would say you probably have a pretty good 10 contender here. If all that was lighting here on the top right, as well as some fuzz on the right side as well. What's up from Sweden? Welcome. Welcome. All right, next up is the Ampharos. Love me some Expedition, love me some e-reader stuff, so this one's going to be a fun one to review, and we will be showcasing something as a sneak peek for episode 70. So if you guys are new here, welcome. This is Grade Review, where I review cards that are submitted to me by Discord community members, and I give my free assessment on what I think these cards would get as a PSA grade. So in addition to that, one of the things I'm going to be trialing tonight that's going to be introduced moving forward is once I do a grade review for anyone that is a subscriber on the Discord server. I'm also going to be calculating the price of both the raw assessed condition as well as the potential grade price. So for example, if I think this Ampharos is a PSA 8, I will look up both the raw near mint price as well as the PSA 8 price. Because there's a lot of people out there that will tell you just the PSA 10 price and nothing else. But this one, we are going to be very, very transparent as much as we possibly can. So then that way, you know if it's worth actually submitting your card at the assessed grade. So even more transparency for episode 70. We're going to be trialing it tonight. So you guys can let me know if you like it or not. So we are going to continue on here. So the Ampharos. Let's see. Beautiful card. I always love this artwork. Let's take a look. So top right corner looks really good. Top left corner looks really good. Left edge looks great. The front of this totally looks fantastic. All edges, all corners look really good. Especially the hollow. Hollow looks insanely good. All on these sides, so super nice. A&G and Respect. A&G, thank you for the follow. And Respect, thank you for sharing the live. It really does mean a lot. If you guys are liking this, I definitely appreciate you guys liking or sharing the live. Definitely helps me out. So no print lines on this, which is fantastic. So far, I'm not really noticing anything else kind of coming on to the card. Maybe a little bit of dirt here between the P and the E, or right above the H. So this is a good example of something that I would call cleaning eligible. So something like a microfiber cloth, a little bit of distilled water, and or a Q-tip with that distilled water. Just kind of gently soak and rub off that little bit of dirt off of that to improve that surface score. So as we look at the other angle, we do see a little bit more scratching from what Mike was kind of hiding here. So we have all of these scratches kind of right by the base of the tail of the Ampharos. So we will have to kind of consider that. So right off the bat, this just to kind of showcase the impact of some of these scratches. So we can kind of really don't see anything from this angle, but really closer inspection, these scratches alone will probably at best bring us down to probably an 8, maybe even towards a 7 if we're lucky. Hopefully we can stay in that 8 range. So on the back side, this is where we start to have some more predominant whitening on the back, especially on the corners. So we have a little bit of whitening on that top right side on that white dot right there. We also have a little bit of whitening here at the top left. So we have 1-2 points of whitening and a little bit of edge wear here along the side as I go along this left side of the card. And if you guys want a little bit better experience too, I'm also live on Twitch. So I have a little bit of a larger overlay if you want to see a little bit more of the tools that I am using. So feel free to check me out over on Twitch, the same name. Link is in the description or the bio. So left side is looking good. Bottom left, again, a little bit of whitening here as well. Dylan, once I am done with mats, which is going to be this Ampharos and his Cubone, I will be more than happy to explain how to submit your cards for a future grade review. So bottom left, a little bit of whitening. Bottom right, a little bit of whitening. So all in all, we're kind of in that 8 to 7 range. But let us just do a quick assessment kind of overall. So we had a chance to look at the front. We had a chance to look at the back. So here is a quick breakdown of this Ampharos. So corners on the front are in excellent shape. The edges on the front are in excellent shape. The surface itself outside of the hollow is good, with the exception of a little bit of dirt. So we're in kind of that great condition, but if we wipe that off, we should be a little bit better. Now, in terms of the hollow, we're kind of, good to average. These scratches are definitely going to bring us down a grade or 2, so probably even within that 8. The back, the corners are about average, so we have the top right, top left, and bottom left, and a little bit of bottom right. All 4 corners have a degree of whitening. In addition, we have a little bit of whitening on this left side, so probably about average. But the surface on the back, I'm also not seeing any issues there, so that's really good, even excellent in my opinion. So I would say with this card, we're kind of dancing in between that 8 or 7. I would say a weak 8 or a strong 7. It can kind of go either way. But for something like this, I would probably lean more towards it being a 7 if there is that whitening on this left side. But if it is not, then you might be able to squeeze away with an 8, but my gut really is trying to say that it's most likely a 7 or a near mint Ampharos. So if we were to look up this Ampharos, so as we kind of scroll down here, so normally what I like to use is I tend to use TCG Player for all of my cards for raw. So we're going to find that real quick, and I probably passed it. So we are, let's see. And this is a really good way of, and we're just going to do this. So we're going to do Expedition. So we are looking for the holo. There we go. So a near mint copy of the Ampharos. So we are looking, and this is a really good way of kind of calculating market price. This is what I do personally. So market price is around 90. So 90 to 82. So I'd probably say market is around 90 at the assessed condition as near mint. But if we were to look at this card, the Ampharos, as a 7, and it does not look like there is any on that quick side. So we'll have to go here. And what I use, what you guys are seeing right now, is I use what's called Alt for my prices for grading cards. So as we look here, so this is a really good example on if you guys are ever trying to look for deals for raw specifically, looking for 7s or 8s is a really good method of getting cards cheaper. So you can kind of see here. So auction, so these are for PSA 7s. So auction, we have 63, 80, 65, 60. So this is how I normally calculate market price for something like this. Because a lot of people will say, oh, well, this is what the last sold was. So typically this is what I do. So I'll add the last 3 to 5 sales. So we have 63. So we have 63 plus 80 plus 65 plus 60 plus 88. So the average of all those, the top 5 values of the last 5 sales, is around 71. However, I also like to kind of weigh a little bit more on the last sale. So 71 was the total average plus 63, and then I actually averaged those two together. So even though before the average was 71, we have to kind of consider that last sale as a pretty strong number. So roughly the market is around 68 for a PSA 7. So it's around 90 in its raw form and 67 in its PSA 7 form. So those are really good ways to kind of, if you're looking for raw cards or near mint cards for your binder, looking at PSA 8s or PSA 7s is sometimes a good alternative to get a cheaper copy. So always keep that in mind. So that is kind of the price range that I saw for that Ampharos mic. So just kind of keep that in mind. You said that you got it for 35, so regardless, it's a steal. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, I think you'd probably get a 7. You might be lucky and get away with an 8, but just for those 4 points of whitening, the scratches, and a little bit of dirt, I'd probably lean more towards it being a 7. And at that point, especially how crazy prices are with grading, it may be something that you're not considering when submitting. So that is a sneak peek of what is to come for future grades for subscribers to start, so I can kind of gauge interest. So if you guys want to have your cards both assessed as priority as well as having your prices assessed as well, definitely consider subscribing on the Discord, starting at $4.99. Might take a chance on it, then we'll see how I feel to put my submission together. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you still want to kind of, more or less roll the dice, I'm kind of like leaning more towards like the 7 than an 8, but I could see it if it gets an 8, then, like I said, as a soft 8, strong 7, in my opinion. So if you guys are wondering how to submit your cards, I'll go over that real quick. So again, as a reminder, this is a weekly thing that I do where I help you as the community help assess your cards on what I think they would get as a PSA grade, absolutely for free. There's a lot of people submitting cards these days that simply don't know what to look for. I'm not saying that you are in that category, but I think it's worth noting on what to really look for so you're not caught off guard or caught by surprise when you get the grade that you didn't think you were going to get. So if you guys are interested in submitting your cards for a future grade review, this is how you do it. So if you're watching me on Twitch tonight, it's going to be in my description. If you're watching me on TikTok, it's going to be in my bio, which is a link tree. From here, once you are at my link tree, you're going to click or tap the Discord icon to join. Once you are in the Discord, you're going to go to the Grade Review channel and submit your cards in there. You can submit as many as you want. Like I said, absolutely for free. But here are a few things to keep in mind. First, make sure to review the pinned messages to review all the rules on how to submit your cards. Basically, just don't take your pictures of your cards and sleeves or top loaders, because if there's a scratch, I don't know if it's on the top loader, the sleeve, or the card. So just keep that in mind. And you can submit as many as you want, but it is first come, first serve for non-subscribers with a limit of 5 cards per person per stream. So for example, if you submit 20, I'll only review 5 once I'm up and hit you in the queue. However, if you want your cards assessed faster, I know a lot of people like to submit their cards as soon as possible and they can't afford to wait. Sometimes the queues can get pretty long. So for example, I think I just started hitting people at the end of April, so we have a little bit of a queue still left. But if you want priority each week and you want to support me as a content creator, the Discord server does offer subscriptions starting at $4.99 and higher. Not only do you get priority grade review, but you also get entered into monthly Discord giveaways. The winner will actually be drawn for this month in about 30 minutes or so. In addition, we're also going to be introducing a lot more new features that will be announced towards the end of the month. So probably during next grade review. So definitely keep an eye out that. We're actually sneak peeking some features in this one as well. So that is the way to submit. Again, it's completely free if you want it to be. And that is how we do it. In addition, I do have a new vendor POV video out now if you want to take a look at that and get a little bit of an insight on what I do as a content creator and as a vendor. And at the end of the day, everything that I do on this channel is meant to educate and help you guys navigate the hobby. So if you have any questions throughout this stream or anytime, please, please, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to answer as best as I can and as fast as I can. So let's review the Cubone. So if you guys have never seen these are some of the first ever printed Pokemon cards, officially printed. So this one is all the way back in 1995. So super cool. Always like these artworks. So let's take a look. So the Cubone. So centering is pretty easy to kind of spot. So this tan border is really what we're kind of measuring here. Looks good on the top, bottom, left, and right in terms of centering. However, the corners, it's really, I think, the bottom right. That might be a little bit of a shadow. So, Mike, you might be able to kind of clarify that a little bit for us. But that bottom right corner does appear to be darker, but it might just be lighting. But if that is not the case, if there's nothing wrong with that corner, the surface, the edges look really good. So that's amazing. The surface looks really good, especially in this lit up area. So I'm not really worried about that. The back. Let's take a look. So centering on this, obviously you really can't tell the centering too much because it's just basically the text just copy and pasted at a diagonal pattern. So centering is really kind of difficult to measure on this one. So it's really just the corners and edges and surface that we're really kind of taking a peek at. I'm not too sure if there's any issue in that top left corner. That might just be the character either smudged or something like that. So I'm not too sure. That left edge looks good. Bottom corner looks good. Bottom right corner looks good. Let's see. But I think that's what you're talking about on this picture. So you're saying in here. Okay, so this is a really good, much better picture on this one. So we do have a little bit of a bend here, a little bit of a fold on that bottom left corner. So I'd probably say for this one, this I think would be a really good candidate for almost like a humidor treatment. I know you've heard it before, Mike, but just for folks who are new to this. So something like this, a little bit of a bend. This is a really easy way that we can try to correct it using a humidor. So what I mean by that is there are techniques where you put a card in a humidor to basically puff it up with some moisture so that the card itself can be a little bit more flexible. So something like this, the idea is you basically want to kind of puff it up a little bit so that you can press out that bend so that it kind of returns back to its original shape. So you basically do that with a few sessions over and over again. And ultimately this corner would kind of be flattened out to where your corner subgrade will be much more improved because you're basically just flattening it out. You're not doing anything else other than that. So this would be a really good example of doing that treatment. So I would say I'll kind of give you kind of two scores here, Mike. So I would say if you kind of just left it as is, and this is a really good example on how important these, or how impactful rather, bends of this magnitude are. So something like this, you know, you're probably going to be in that light play range, which would probably result in like a 6, because the rest of the card itself, from what I can tell, is in really good shape. To be quite honest with you, because the corners look good. Other than that, like other than the bottom left one, the corners look good, the edges look good, the surface looks good, both on the front and the back. The only thing, again, I don't really know what this is, right where the tip of my mouse is. Mike, you might be able to weigh in on that, but One Bad, thank you for the follow, appreciate that, and Dominic, thank you for the follow, appreciate that as well. So I'd probably say, with the corner as is, I'd probably say you're looking at around a 6. But if you were to kind of try to flatten that out, there might be still a little bit kind of like of an indicator. Eric could probably speak on this, because I treated one of his cards not too long ago, but his is a little bit tougher because it was a hollow, like kind of that hollow foil. You can kind of flatten it out, but there might be a little bit of kind of that residual line that might still be present, may or may not be still present. So I'd probably say you're probably looking at like an 8 to a possible 9 at the absolute best, if we were to try to flatten that out successfully. If not, then you're probably looking more at like, you could still flatten it out, would be my guess, but probably be more on that 8 side for that one. So for this, I'd say, you know, 9, no, not that. So like a 9 to an 8 probably, but then with like a 6, so you can kind of, you're seeing me kind of emote you a lot here. And then the Ampharos is about a 7, and then the Dark Slowking was around a 10. Sleepy Boy Cubo, yeah, this is a really good one, Sleepy. Definitely a really good one. I might have to use your, yeah, for sure. For sure. The other, one of the other things that I can kind of sneak peek on is not to say too much, but I am partnering up with another content creator who does cleaning in a much more professional manner than I do, that we're going to be teaming up and hopefully giving you guys some newer tools and access to some better cleaning techniques. So that will probably be announced here more officially soon, but as a sneak peek, I am going to be working with another content creator on that, so super excited to share that with you guys more in depth here soon. But all right, so Mike, thank you for that submission, and Frazzle, thank you for yours as well. So again, if you guys are interested in learning how to submit your cards for a grade review, please let me know. And if you guys have any questions about anything that you're seeing about tonight, or just want my questions in general, like what are my thoughts on Destined Rivals? You know, GameStop, for example, has increased their MSRP for new product. What do I think about that? Or has a vendor, anything like that. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know. And if you guys are enjoying yourself, I definitely appreciate liking or sharing or following the live, whether you're on Twitch or TikTok tonight. Definitely appreciate it. And let's go to Crab. So first up, let me just reorganize this a little bit better. So first up, we have the Jolteon EX. If you guys are new here, Jolteon is probably one of my favorite Pokemon. But if I were to pick one that was not an evolution, probably my favorite would have to be Victreebel. I'm a big Victreebel enjoyer. So let's take a look. So again, centering is looking really strong on this card. Nothing that I can tell on that one. Corners look good. Top right, top left, bottom right look really good. This is the 28A. Am I able to identify errors? I would say I am able to identify most commonly recognized errors bad. So like the Nintendo error, or ink stain errors, or D-stamp error on the Butterfree. So I know about a lot. I know a lot of errors that are commonly identifiable, if that makes sense. So the surface on this looks really good. I mean, with the texturing, it's really kind of difficult to see like surface impurities. So we do have a little bit of possibly something on the nose. John, no, this is actually people who have submitted their cards in our Discord for a free grade review. So these are people who want to grade these cards but don't want to pay out the money in advance to get a grade that they may or may not want. So this is a way that I can not only review what I think they would get so that they can make a better decision, but it also helps the community on what to look for. Because eBay, for example, is doing a partnership with PSA where you can actually, if you purchase cards above 250, you can actually purchase them to send directly to PSA. So that is a new announcement as of this month. Yes, it is completely for free. And so as we look in the top right, so my guess is what Crab is trying to show us here is we do have a little bit of some whitening here. So we have 1, 2, 3. So we have a little bit of some dings here. But aside from that, not too much, but definitely a good indicator on what to see here. So we're probably, at best we're at that 9, but probably we're like more realistically if these. So I'll kind of highlight them real quick. So we have 1, 2, what appears to be 3. So right now we're kind of in that 9 to 8 range, if those are actual indicators. So on the back, as we kind of zoom in here, so we have a little bit of whitening on that top right side. Have a little bit on that top. Top left corner looks great. Left edge looks good. Bottom left corner looks good. Bottom right corner looks good. I'm about to buy a tag team collection. Might send you some before I grade them. Perfect. Perfect. Once I'm done with Crab's submission, I'll definitely let you know how to go over it. Because yes, there is this is free. It is first come, first serve, but there are ways to have priority grade review that I can go over once I'm done with this submission. So the surface on this looks really good. The top looks good. So I would say if that, like what you're trying to highlight here, if these are little bits of whitening, you're probably looking at around a 9 to an 8, but I'd say more towards an 8, only because what I'm seeing here, what appears to be some surface, like very mild surface issues on this blue border. I got a Mewtwo VMAX I pulled, just might be a Black Label 10. Well, that'd be really cool, Hakan. That's really sick. Congratulations. A little bit of whitening here. But the surface, all in all, looks pretty good. So I'd probably lean more towards an 8 on this one. How to get my Captain Pikachu. So yeah, so I'll go over that. Since there's a few people who are asking, I'll go over once I'm done with this Jolteon. So I would say this would probably be an 8. So I'll kind of show a sneak peek here on some of the new features that I'm going to be introducing, because this is episode 69. I've been doing this every Wednesday 69 times, which is kind of crazy. So now what I'm going to do is, since we now know that this card would get a, what we assume would get a PSA 8. So if you're to sell this raw, so this is what we're looking at. So market for a near mint copy is roughly 15. So average, we have 15, 11. So I'd say 15 is a pretty accurate assessment. So if you're to sell this card raw, it'd be around 15. And if we were to see what this card would be as a PSA 8. So what I am using right now is I am using Alt to calculate the grade price. So if we were to use Alt, so the prices are not too far off of the raw. So you can kind of see here. So last offer is 25, 21, 20, 18. So roughly probably like 20 to 22 on average for market. So 15 raw, 22 graded as a PSA 8. So this probably wouldn't be the best time to submit this card, regardless on whether or not you're looking for good submission play, because the card isn't going to be a big return, whether you sell it graded or raw. So depending on what you got it for raw, it might be a little bit better to do it then. But so as I'm going through here, Began, thank you for the follow, appreciate that. So if you guys are wondering how to submit your cards for a free grade review in the future, this is how you do it. So first, if you're watching me on Twitch, which I am also doing, if you guys prefer that as well, I have a little bit more visibility and a lot more going on the Twitch side of things. But if you're on Twitch, it's going to be in my description, and TikTok is going to be in my bio. Next, once you click the link in my bio, it's going to send you to my link tree, and you're going to click or tap the Discord icon to join the Discord. Once you are in the Discord, you're going to submit your pictures in the grade review channel. You're going to submit your pictures front and back. You can submit as many as you want. Again, it's absolutely for free, but a few things to consider. First, please make sure to follow the rules that are pinned in the messages of the channel. For example, I cannot review cards that are in sleeves or top loaders because if I see a scratch, I don't know if the scratch is on the card, the top loader, the sleeve. So pretty common sense, but I just want to make sure that you review the rules because otherwise I won't review your card. Second, it is first come, first serve. So what that means is that I normally review 15 to 20 cards per stream. I do this every Wednesday starting at around 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So it just goes in order from first come, first serve. With a minimum of 5 cards reviewed per person per stream, you can submit as many as you want. However, once it's your turn, I'll only review your first 5, for example, if you were submitted 20. So if you are wanting the grades to be assessed faster, there are ways to do that. So there are a few people who have already taken advantage of it tonight, which is priority grade review. So the Discord server offers subscriptions starting at $4.99 and higher, which all subscription tiers give you priority grade review over all non-subs every week. In addition, you also get entered into a monthly Discord giveaway. So this month's was a Breakpoint Check Lane Blister with the Pikachu promo. So that's going to be announced later in today's stream, in addition to some other good features and good perks on being a Discord subscriber. So all of that is available to you, but at the end of the day, it will always be free and forever will be free. So that is how you do it. In addition, as a side note, I do have vendor POV videos that I make after my shows. I am a vendor at the end of the day, and I just released a new one. And this one, which is also in my link tree, I get to go over someone who opened up the Latias and Latios in a dollar store pack. So if you want to take a look at that and support me, that video is now live, and I definitely appreciate you checking that out. Began and NY, thank you for the follows. Appreciate that very much. Jay says, I just ordered a humidifier to help get a ding out of a 151. Can you offer any advice? You know what, Jay? I'm going to be making an announcement very soon. I'm actually partnering up with another really good content creator who also does cleaning, and we are going to be doing a sponsorship / kind of collaboration that we will be creating a workshop so that you have all the tips and tricks that you need to do this as well as you possibly can, in addition to some other services. So that's going to be coming up next week, but I will have some more information soon. So definitely hang tight. So if you haven't heard about that, definitely make sure to follow either on the Discord or the TikTok or both, just for when I make that announcement come next week. It's not quite ready yet, but it will be very soon. All right, so now that we finished the Jolteon, we're going to move to the mag. So let's take a look. If you guys are enjoying yourself, I definitely appreciate you guys liking or sharing the live. Definitely helps me in the algorithm gods. Gotta appease them. So let's take a look. Centering is really good on this card. And a lot of these cards with the type of texturing, it's really difficult to see any imperfections on the surface specifically, so we really have to kind of be careful here as we kind of review, because a lot of these textures can hide things like dirt or debris or imperfections on the actual surface. But the corners look fantastic. These are not mine, Batman. These are members of the community who submitted these cards. So right now, I can see them pretty well. So normally, but yes, normally the darker backgrounds are better. But these are pretty good. The left, yeah, these edges are really good. The corners are really good. Not really noticing anything crazy. So this is a really clean copy on the front. Nothing stuck in the texture from what I can tell. So far, so good. Really, really clean. The back, let's see. That is the wrong one because it's not Japanese. Where is the back? Ah, here it is. So it is, so we got, make sure that I have these in the right order. Give me 1 second. So we just finished that one. And so there we go. Okay. So that's the front. There we go. We are in the order now. So on the top right, so this is a little bit more focused here. So we have a little bit of some dings. Hakan, you're seeing that too. Small spot on the left edge. Okay. So the dings here from this angle are going to be here and here, as well as possibly here and possibly there. So very, very minor, especially this one and this one. But these two here and here are a little bit more predominant. So we're probably within, you know, again, very similar to the Jolteon EX. We're kind of in that, like, at best, a 9. But again, the more bits of whitening we see, the worse the score is going to be. Peter, thank you for the follow. I appreciate that very much. So let's flip it over. Centering is really good. No issues there. The top right looks good. And what we're seeing right here on this top edge, this isn't whitening. This is more of the lighting of the picture. So I'm not gonna, you know, call that whitening. It's not like a 7 or a 6 now because of this. It's just lighting at the end of the day. So top right corner looks fantastic. Top left corner looks good. Left edge, as we kind of navigate our way down here, so far so good. Really clean. Bottom left corner looks good. Bottom edge, bottom right corner looks good. The bottom right edge, or the right edge rather, looks good as well. And the surface looks fantastic. So really the only thing that I saw across this entire card, both on the front and the back, is potentially this is what they kind of highlighted on. But I think someone else may have said something too, and it's a little bit difficult to kind of see based off of the picture. What appears to be maybe something here, which is right in this section. So that might be something, that might not be. I'm not too sure. Front left, small spot. I think I was seeing, is that what you were seeing too, Wesley? I think you were the one that kind of brought it to our attention here. But I'm not too sure. But that might be something up here. But again, it's a little bit tough to tell if that is or not. Which kind of goes across here. Because normally it kind of shape around to it being kind of the artwork of where the basic is. But that's something to consider as well. Around the Soul Blaster. Let's see. Okay, let's take a look. The Soul Blaster. So you're saying more on... If anyone sees it, definitely... So I'm looking around the Soul Blaster. Kind of doing a counterclockwise motion here. Left edge. So left edge near the Soul Blaster. So these might be light. This might be lighting. Just the only reason why I think that, if I'm kind of seeing what you're seeing, if I kind of zoom in, I'm going to zoom in a lot here. So if you're seeing what I'm seeing on this left edge, so right here, so like this white dot or this white dot or this white dot, the reason why I'm probably thinking that this is more lighting than anything is you can kind of see where the texture line kind of goes across here. It meets right at the end of that. So right here is the same thing. Right here is the same thing. Here, here, and here. So my guess is that that's probably part of the texture and the fact that the light is probably reflecting a little bit in a weird way that makes it look like it's whitening. But the fact that the texture lines kind of match up, that's probably where I'm leaning more towards. But I think that's a great observation. Because again, if you guys don't know, PSA just made an announcement this week. If you guys subscribe to PSA, they come out with a monthly magazine. And one of the things that's going to be coming out very soon is for cards that are valued at $250 or higher on eBay, we now will have the option to have them be sent directly to PSA to be graded. So all the tips that we're seeing right now are actually going to be more important now more than ever because we are reviewing these cards online. So a lot of the techniques that I'm demonstrating will be perfect to carry over to eBay if you guys are trying to look for grading plays on eBay specifically that are to be sent directly to PSA. So just kind of keep that in mind. So I'd say with everything that we're kind of seeing here, I'm not too sure. Again, I'm not too sure what this is above the basic. So we'll have to kind of keep that in mind. Really, the only thing that you've kind of highlighted here is that little bit of whitening. So I'd probably say, anywhere from like an 8 to a 9 within that range. I don't think it's any worse. Like, I think 8 is probably even a little bit too harsh. But if this is something, then 8 would be more appropriate. Would be my guess. But if that's nothing, and that's just some optical illusion or whatever, then it's probably more appropriate for the 9, only because of those very, very minimal, because we're really zooming in, right, on these sections. So we're probably looking at a 9, would be my guess, if that isn't anything near that basic. Are you taking submissions right now? I'm always taking submissions, Chris. Always taking submissions. However, the queue for tonight is closed, but the faster you can submit your cards in the Grade Review channel in our Discord, the faster you'll get reviewed, because it is a first come first serve for free members, and I also provide priority grade review for Discord subscribers as well. So the Jolteon, I think we said was around an 8. So Jolteon was around an 8. The Mag was around a 9. 9 to an 8. I think is what I said. So 9 to an 8. And then next up is the Mega Gengar. Oh, nice. Oh, wait. Oh, my bad, Chris. I see the little symbol now. I had to look at my TikTok specific stream. What's going on, brother? What's going on with this card? It's great, man. We're thinking it's going to get a 9. Alright, so let's look at the Mega Gengar. So let's take a look. I'll zoom over here real quick. So, the Jelly Bean. So let's take a look. So centering. So really what we're looking for in regards to centering is going to be right in this section. So if we look, we'd be more in like here, and we would be right around here. So that's kind of where we would start that measurement. So as we look, as we kind of look here, so I'll put the ruler up. Let's take a look. So here to here. So this is how I measure centering, just as a quick glance. So I'm just going to reference these as tick marks. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tick marks on the left. Red was probably not the best color, but you can work with me here a little bit. And from here to here, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So how this would go is we'd add both values, so 5 plus 4.5. So we're adding the left to the right. We get 9.5. So then if we want to get the ratio, we divide one of the sides by the total. So 5 divided by 9.5. So we have 0.52. So 0.52, which would be 52 to 48, which is within the range of a 10 contention. Thoughts on using AI to grade cards as well? I guess what context are you talking about, like tag, AGS? Are you talking about AI apps? What are you talking about, my friend? I have opinions on all the above. So centering looks good on the front, top, bottom, left, right. Corners look really good. Top right corner looks good. Top left corner looks good. Bottom left corner looks good. Bottom right corner looks good. So really, the card looks great at the end of the day. Not a lot of issues on the front that I can tell. A lot of rainbow, a lot going on. So we really kind of be a little bit careful here. No print lines from what I can tell. So really clean on the front. Not too bad. The back, let me just shift this over so you guys can see. So the back, that top right corner looks fantastic as we kind of go across. And again, this whitening on the top is just the lighting of the photograph here. So not too bad. This left edge looks great. The bottom left hand corner looks good. Bottom edge looks good. Bottom right corner looks good. So the only thing that I possibly see, now kind of doing another kind of quick glance, is what appears to be, but I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. But again, this is stuff that we really need to pay attention to, is this right here. So we have what appears to be a little, and I don't even know if you guys can see it, and it might just be a bit of like camera fuzziness, but that does appear to be a little bit of whitening. But again, it might just be a camera issue, or picture issue more so than the actual card. So just double check that in person, but that's probably the only thing that I see on that left edge. But aside from that, everything looks really good. So I'd probably say, this has a pretty good shot at a 10. Again, centering is really good. Edges are really good. Corners are great. This has a really good shot at a 10 contention for sure. So yeah, that's a really good submission. Saw the same. Yeah, that's what it looks like, Wesley, for sure. AI apps, my bad, like centering and giving prompts to point out things one might skip over. I think it's a good tool. However, I don't think that it should be like the end all be all for you as a collector. Like for example, like what you're seeing right now. This is a great review. I help people kind of review and look at things on their cards, but ultimately you'll hear me say, look at this in person, or this is what I'm seeing, but double check here. Don't 100% take my word for it. It's a good resource, but I wouldn't fully put my trust into something like that, if that makes sense. So I'm always good for tools, but definitely trust but verify at the end of the day. That's kind of my opinion on stuff like that. I appreciate it very much, Wesley. Appreciate it very much. And like I said, I got a lot more fun stuff for you guys. We've been doing this. This is episode 69. So I do this every every Wednesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. So I've been doing this 69 times in a row. Funny number, I know. So the fact that you guys love coming over and supporting me, doing what I love to do, which is helping you guys out, it really does mean a lot. Because at the end of the day, Pokemon right now is very chaotic, and I try to do my best to try to, educate as much as I can. In addition, speaking on that education, I actually have a new vendor POV that's out now, which is in my link in my bio, in my link tree. So if you want to take a look on how I vend professionally, and you can also see how I talked with a guy who opened up a Latios GX tag team out of a dollar store pack. That video is up now, so if you want to take a look at that, I definitely appreciate it. And my videos are a little bit different because I also give kind of inner dialogue on some observations on kind of how I interact with customers, so it might give you guys a better edge if you go to a card show. So definitely check that out if you're interested. I just got here. Are there any good apps for self-grade the cards I want to send to PSA? Is there any good apps for self-grade the cards? I would say, like, for apps, like, I'm sure there are some. I don't know any on the top of my head, Shash. So just kind of keep that in mind. Like, just kind of do your research, I would say, and see what's what. But ultimately, it's just kind of trial and error, and kind of, I guess, like, watching these streams is another really good way to kind of look for and kind of help you determine what's gradable, what's not. What do you think of whitening tools? I think that it is a very dangerous slope, and that's probably the worst tool you can use when it comes to alterations. Because when I hear whitening tools, I hear of like pens, as an example. Hopefully by next week, I will be making an official announcement on a partnership that I'm going to be doing with someone who takes like card cleaning very seriously as much as I do. So I'm going to be hopefully announcing a sponsorship and a partnership here in the coming week to kind of give more insight on what I think about that too, Wesley. All right, so next up is Popeye's Chicken Sandwich. Is it worth fixing up a card that has a corner that's peeling? It depends on... So peeling, you're also going to be needing to use like adhesive, which I am strongly against because that would be considered a form of alteration because you're adding something to a card to improve it, like chemicals, wax, and in this case, adhesive. So if something is actually peeling from the card, that might be too far gone from a grading perspective. And if you try to do it, your risk of being detected as an alteration is increased for sure. So it's definitely a bigger risk. I want to be totally transparent with you. No, more like a whitening shot. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Honestly, a good thing to invest in, Wesley, would be a UV blacklight. So I do them not only to authenticate PSA slabs, but I also do the same thing if there are issues or instances where I'm trying to look for whitening. Using like a UV flashlight is a really good tool. And they're really inexpensive too. They're probably less than 10 bucks. So that's probably what I would use. All right, so next up we have the Terra Eevee here. So let's take a look. So centering is really good. Corner, and I've said this before, but if you guys are new here, for anything that's modern, it's really kind of the centering and corners that give us the biggest issues. And especially for Japanese, it's more the centering that also gives us a lot of issues. Awesome, anytime, Master. And again, if you guys have any other questions, this is why I'm here. This is why I do these streams on Wednesdays. It's not only to do grade review, but it's also try to help you guys as much as you can, and as much as I can, to kind of navigate and just become an overall more informed collector. There's a lot of people trying to drag us in a lot of different directions, but ultimately, I'm kind of a big trust but verify kind of guy, and a lot of the times when I verify stuff, it really doesn't hold its weight. So please feel free to ask me any questions if you want my advice. I try to answer as truthfully and transparently as I possibly can. People who come here a lot, like Mike or anyone else, might be able to kind of legitimize those claims as well, so it's not just me saying that. And again, those vendor POV videos that I make will also kind of show some of that transparency and also some other tips that I pick up along the way, if you want to check that out. So the front looks really good. Centering looks good. Corners look good. Same thing on the back. Corners look great. Edges look great. I would say this is, without a doubt, a very, very strong 10 contender. I don't see anything wrong with the surface on the back. The corners look really good. The centering looks really good. Again, for Japanese, it's really the only thing that kind of, because their quality is so high, that it's really the centering that kind of brings these back a lot. But I really think that this is a really good 10 contender, for sure. Okay, next up is Kobe with the Sleepy Bulbasaur. And yeah, if anyone is new here that wants to know how to submit your cards for a future grade review, please feel free to let me know in the Twitch or TikTok chat, wherever you're watching me today. I'd be more than happy to go over this. And the thumbnail on this one kind of tricked me. So this one is a little bit out of like what I accept for a grade review, but we can kind of get away with it a little bit. I would say that the bottom has a little bit of silvering here. But again, I don't know if that's just because of the lighting or whatnot. So this is a kind of an example. I really can't do a full assessment on this because the picture is so blurry and dark. The thumbnail made it look a lot better than when I actually zoomed in on it. So this one is going to be a little bit more difficult. I might have to just kind of pass over this one, to be quite honest with you, because it's a little bit too dark. I really can't see too much. I mean, the centering is there. I don't see any whitening, so you might have a chance aside from that little bit of the bottom. So just kind of keep that in mind, that this is a good example of, you know, you might want to have it more clear or better illuminated when you're taking these pictures. This is a good example on what not to do. It's a good example on what not to do. There we go. Shash, Viking, and Edwards, thank you for following. Appreciate that very much. And up next, we have the big boy himself, the Zard from Base Set. Let us take a look. It is on the what appears to be a cookie sheet. I think this is the first time we have seen a card on grade review inside of a cookie sheet. Good cook. I mean, it makes sense. It is a fire type. And yeah, I guess it makes sense to put it in a cookie sheet. All right, so we're gonna do a pretty significant breakdown because I see a lot of newer people in the chat. So welcome, guys. If this is your first time here. And so we're gonna do this a little bit more carefully because I think this is a really good card to kind of check a lot of things off. So first, gonna be the centering. So the top border is pretty thick. So one way that I tend to do measurements, because I don't submit to BGS, so I never really look for like black labels per se. So needing to be like exactly 50-50 isn't really what I do, but this is a good enough kind of example on what to check for. So for example, we're using a kind of a transparent ruler here, and I'm just going to reference these as tick marks. So we're just going to first measure the bottom. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 tick marks on the bottom. So as we scroll up, it's very thick on the top. So we have from here to about here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 on the top and 4 on the bottom. And honestly, that makes it really easy math for us, because all you have to do is just add both values together, which in this case would be 10, and divide one of the numbers by the sum. So in this example, 6 divided by 10, we would get 0.6. So in this example, we would have a 60 to 40 ratio, which means that this would not be a 10 contender. This would be, at best, the ceiling for a possible grade is going to be a PSA 9 at the best. But we can obviously see, just kind of looking at this top edge, that there's going to be a lot more wrong with this card that we have to also consider. So we see the top right corner, a little bit of silvering, a lot of dirt here. And I've said this before, and I've said this a lot in my videos in the past, but anytime I see dirt or debris or things that are kind of added onto a card, this is a really good candidate for something like a quick, easy clean with some distilled water, maybe a Q-tip, maybe with a microfiber cloth, something to just kind of get that dirt or grime, or some people call it pokey mold, off of the card. Because we want to be able to remove that, because it's something that's added onto a card that wouldn't be considered an alteration. So that'd be a really good example on trying to improve the surface as much as we can by removing some of that dirt and grime kind of left behind. So as we kind of go counterclockwise, I guess to really pick like why I do it, sometimes if you're looking at a card in kind of unconventional ways, it kind of helps your brain kind of find things that's outside of like a normal pattern. Like if you're just kind of doing clockwise all the time, I just do counterclockwise. It's just kind of up to what you want to do. But as we kind of look here, we see a lot of dings here right above my mouse. We have a lot of issues on the edges, and even kind of towards the surface, we're seeing a lot of scratches here. So as we kind of continue to go counterclockwise, a little bit of issues on that top left-hand corner, not too bad, but we do see some nonetheless. This left edge actually is pretty good. We'll get to kind of what I'm seeing here in a second, but we're really trying to just focus on the yellow border to start. We'll go back to this image border here in just a second. So this left edge actually looks really good. This bottom left corner looks really good. Bottom edge, what appears to be either some issues or what is also called silvering. So for context, when someone ever mentions silvering, that is when during the process where these cards were cut off of the cardstock, so the big sheets that the cards are printed on, the blades in this era were used so much that the blades were starting to become duller and duller over time, which resulted in the top layer kind of being trimmed or kind of dragged along with it during the cutting process, which results in that hollow layer being revealed from that missing yellow layer. So that's what's called silvering, if you ever see that term thrown around or hear that term being thrown around. So we have a little bit of issues here as well on the bottom right corner. And as we go up the right edge, Betty, what's going on? Welcome. As we go on the right side, we have a little bit what appears to be either dirt or, again, some more of that yellow layer being removed. But we also see some here as well. So now let's go to the text. So the text actually looks pretty good. Not seeing a lot of issues. Normally you kind of see some scratching, kind of see some of that silvering from the scratches on the surface. So actually really good so far. And based off of this picture, so we only have one angle of this Zard. So we really kind of have to take this with a little bit of a grain of salt here. But the foil itself actually looks pretty good. I'm not seeing anything crazy, not a lot of scratches. I often see like kind of scuffed scratches or clustered scratches, especially with a Charizard. But we do see a little bit of a scratch here on the surface, kind of cutting through within that border, right where my mouse is. So we kind of see that kind of carrying across. But from this angle, we're not really seeing any scratches on the holo itself, or more importantly, on the Charizard itself. So it's really just the edges that are really kind of causing us the most issues. So as we flip it over, we're going to see some more of that probably edge wear kind of transfer to the back. And as some more confirmation about the off-centering on the front, you can kind of see it translate to the back. So you kind of see it thicker on the top on the front side. You also see it thicker on the top on the back side. And that's kind of common when we are talking about off-center cards. So the top right looks okay, this top right corner, but we do see a little bit of spattering of whitening, and I'll kind of go slow here with my mouse. You can kind of really see some of that whitening all across that top edge. And as we kind of go across that top left corner, it actually looks pretty good. to be quite honest with you. That left edge, a little bit of whitening as well. So the name of the game right now and the word of the day is whitening on this card. So this edge, a lot of whitening on this left edge, a lot of whitening on this bottom left corner, a lot of whitening on the bottom. And there's probably a little bit more notable one right there, right above where my mouse is. And as we kind of go across, see a little bit there on the bottom right. But honestly, the back, although it does have whitening on all four corners and all four edges, is a lot better than the front. We're also seeing a little bit of some surface wear. Not too bad, but you kind of see these general scuffs on the back of the card as well. So, if we're to kind of take kind of a quick summary of this card, again, it's really just the edges, the corners, and the centering that's going to be the biggest points of issue, with a little bit of some surface issues more towards the center, like the edge here and all that. So I would say with what we're seeing here, no scratches really on the holo, just from this perspective, other than this one right here. We're obviously out of anything above a 7, right? So we're not going to get PSA 7, 8, 9, or 10. So we kind of, at best, we're kind of starting from 6 or lower. And so with the amount of issues on the front especially, one of the biggest things that we also have to kind of consider, and it's almost kind of the fifth hidden grading criteria, which is eye appeal. So when you first look at this card, your eyes immediately look at some really big issues. More specifically, the top here, we see a little bit of scratches because it's so close to the Charizard, so you kind of see those. So we really kind of have to weigh in a little bit more heavily on some of these more noticeable bits of issues. So the top here, this front side. So I would say to start, just from the front alone, we're probably in that 6 to 5 range. So as we kind of flip it over, we see a lot more whitening on the back. Again, all four corners and all four edges are pretty noticeable when it comes to the whitening. So I'd probably say, we're in that 5 range. And so some might be asking, what would make it kind of go even lower? And so for something like a PSA 4, 3, 2, or even a 1, that's where you start to see more bends or creases. And luckily, when we're looking at this card both on the front and the back, I'm not really seeing any creases or bends or anything like that. So actually, that's really what's kind of saving this card from getting even lower than possibly in that 4 range, because we're not seeing any bends, we're not seeing any creases. It's really just chipping at the end of the day. Chipping and the scratches on the surface is really all we're seeing. We're not seeing any bends, we're not seeing any creases on the front or on the back. So I'd probably say that this would be a pretty strong 5. In my opinion, I would say it's a little bit worse than a 6, but I don't think it's any worse to kind of get into that 4, unless there are, maybe some issues with, again, bends or creases that we might not see. But based off of what we are seeing, I'd probably lean more towards that 5. So, having said that, another thing that a lot of people ask me is, okay, we assess this card as a 5. So what does that really mean at the end of the day, right? What does it mean? Like, is it better to grade it? Is it better not to grade it? So this is kind of another kind of sneak peek on some features that I'm going to be introducing starting next week. So for this Charizard, let's assume, that this is your childhood collection and this is your, you basically got this for free. So what is it worth? What's the assessed condition raw? We already are kind of assuming that this would probably get a PSA 5. So really, what does that mean? So when I assess cards, I normally kind of equate grades to an assessed condition raw. So for example, for this assessed as a PSA 5, I normally equate that to a moderately played card. So the first thing I do, if we are going to be assessing the raw condition, is I always go to tcgplayer.com. It's probably the biggest, most widely accepted marketplace for Pokemon specifically. So we're going to find the base set here. And so we're going to then check moderately played. So moderately played holofoil. So this is the unlimited version. And so we just go view more data. So now we have a lot to kind of to look at here. So we have moderately played. So this is what is assessed as the market price. So around 258, we'll say 260. So we kind of see some sales all over the place, 275, 253, 252, 300, 251. So I'd probably say, we're in that 250, 260 range in terms of market price, which is pretty accurate here. So the other thing that we're also going to do, so now that we have an idea on, if we were to sell this as mod play, market would probably be around 260. So if we go to the grading counterpart, so I use Alt when I calculate prices for graded cards. So we're going to do Charizard, base set, And let's see if we can find a good category here. So we should be able to just kind of scroll down here. So we're going to be looking at the base set Holo Charizard number 4. So you can kind of see all these different prices. So we're going to define as the PSA 5 range. So there's a lot of categories here. So we're going to be looking more at the PSA 5 range. So as we look here, this is what we're kind of be looking at. So we see a lot of different auction prices. So this is what we kind of start to establish that market price for PSA 5s of the last sold. So we have a lot just within last week, right? So we have the 18th through 17th. So we have 315, 310, 300, 265. So I would say the market price for this one specifically, normally what I would do in this case is I normally like to just average the last 3 to 5 sales. So if we're going to do 315 plus 310 plus 285 plus 300 plus 265 and then divide that by 5, our average roughly is around 295. So that kind of gives you a good idea on what to do here. So if we were to sell this at ModPlay, we're looking at around market price of 260. And if we were to assess this as a PSA 5, we're looking at around 295. So there's a little bit more that you can kind of squeeze out of the value if this were to get a PSA 5. But ultimately, you still have to kind of pay into that, and that kind of eats into your profit. So really, at the end of the day, it kind of equals out to being around 260 market for this Charizard being moderately played or assessed as a PSA 5. So that's kind of how this whole process of what you're watching, if you guys are new, I wanted to really make this Charizard a really good example on kind of what this stream is about that I do for these grade reviews. So that was a lot of yapping. Martin and Elaine, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Would you recommend TCG grading? I've never heard of that company. There's a lot of companies I feel like that are floating around there. Blee, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. But again, big fan of, always a big fan of the Zard boy. So next up, the Vaporeon EX. But hopefully all is well, Betty. I know I was kind of talking there. Hopefully, I don't know if you're still around, but hopefully all is well. So let's take a look at the Vaporeon. Centering on this bad boy is really good. Corners look good. Edges look good. All things are good. Let me take a look at the back here. So this is where I think it would be a good opportunity to ask you guys. So based off of what you're seeing and what I'm seeing and you hearing what I was yapping about, why do you guys think that this card might not get a 10? There is something that I am seeing that I think this is a really good example. A lot of people ask me what I'm about to ask. But I just want to see if you guys can catch why I think this card might not get a 10. Jay's right on it. Yes. Yes, you guys are correct. Edgeware. So this is a really good example. When people ask me, when I do these grade review streams, people ask me, you know, how impactful is whitening on a card? Even if it's a little bit, how much of an impact does it really have? Because again, a lot of people now, especially with grading being much more accessible through GameStop, a lot of people have this idea that if they open up a card fresh from a pack and just submit it to GameStop to get graded, it's going to get the 10. And that is just simply not the case. In this card, even though the front of this Vaporeon is in really good shape, right? The centering is really good. The corners are immaculate. But as we flip it over, we have some issues. We have some issues on the top right here. So we see a little bit of whitening on that top right corner. We actually have probably 2 bits of whitening here. Possibly even 3. Where the one on the right is very, very little. But this one right here is probably the most predominant. And even with those little bits of whitening, and the centering is really good, we also have a little bit of whitening stuck, kind of like, I would call them little white fuzzies, I guess, to wipe these off. This would prevent the 10 in most cases. This would probably get a 9, with the exception, you know, if there is some more whitening. I don't know if this is lighting or kind of, because you can kind of see this left edge being a little bit more illuminated. But most likely this would not get the 10. And I know some people would probably be pretty upset about it, but at the end of the day, This isn't, and the other people ask me, is this something that you can fix? No, in most cases you can't, unless it's something peeled over that you can kind of push that blue layer back to its original position. If it's gone, it's gone. And if anyone tells you anything different, like in terms of like filling it in or anything like that, that would be considered alteration. Bottom left, maybe that might also be the kind of the bottom of this material too. But so yeah, I probably would not think that would be a 10. There we go. Had to block someone that was advocating for filling in cards. What's the most lenient grading service? This would probably get most likely a 9, Brandon. But I could see kind of, unless the whitening is actually really there, that might be kind of hidden by this lighting on the left side, it might get an 8. But Corey, I guess a really important question, because I really want to make sure that I give a appropriate response. When you talk about lenient, are you approaching grading from like a return on investment perspective or a personal collection perspective? Because lenient, I guess how I'm interpreting your question, and I don't mean to like really pick apart your question, but yeah, because lenient sometimes equates to what would be the easiest to get a high grade to return on investment. Personal collection, I would say, like it really just depends. From a grading perspective, if you're grading for your personal collection, one of the first things that I would look for, truthfully, and if you're not with no intention on reselling, is what slabs look the best to you. In addition to what type of information are you really looking at? You know what I mean? So, BGS or CGC, for example, has subgrades where PSA does not. But some people like the look of PSA slabs more so than BGS or CGC. So, are your lives recorded? They are, cruising. So how I've been doing it now, so I also stream on Twitch. So the Twitch VOD should be there. But once the live is done, I am sending as a unlisted video on YouTube. So once the live is done, I just make it public once it's done. And it's on my YouTube as well. So you can go back and look. I have them all on YouTube, Twitch, wherever you want to watch it. All right, next up is What's What, with 2 Cynthia's Garchomps, a Giovanni's Persian, and a Zacian V. I love that Charizard was put in a cookie cutter sheet. Is there an actual Strawl and Risotto? Thank you for the follows. Appreciate that. My Umbreon has a white spot, and I want to display it, but I'm afraid to waste money on a 9. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like I just talked about with that Vaporeon, I don't think that Vaporeon would get with a 10. So if you saw the whitening, it was very little. That would probably get a 9. Is there an actual way to fix the white spots on borders? No, there is not. And don't let anyone tell you that there is anything different, because the only way to fix that, if it's like fresh from a pack, would be to use ink, and that's considered an alteration. How do I send cards? Yeah, so Master, I'll actually go over that right now. So if you guys are wondering how to submit your cards for a future grade review, I'm about to go over that right now. So if you guys are watching me on Twitch, the link is in the description below. If you're watching me on TikTok, the link is going to be in the bio. Once you are there, you're going to be at my link tree. You're going to then click or tap the Discord icon to join the server. Once you are joined in the server, you're going to submit your cards in the grade review channel. Again, this service is absolutely for free and always will be for free. But here are a few things to keep in mind. So first, I highly recommend when you're in the grade review channel to review the pinned messages. The pinned messages include all the rules and examples on how to take pictures of your cards. For example, if a picture is too dark or it's in a sleeve, I won't review it because I don't know if there's a scratch on the sleeve, or if it's too dark, I can't see. So stuff like that. Just review the pinned messages just so that I don't pass over you or deny your entry. The next thing is that it is first come, first serve. So the faster you submit, the better chances you'll be reviewed at a much quicker pace, because I do these streams every Wednesday starting at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And in addition, I review up to 5 cards per person per stream. Again, you can submit as many as you want, but for example, if you submit 20, I'll only review the first 5 if you're up, and then so on and so forth until you're done. However, there are some people who want their cards assessed even faster and can't wait, which is totally valid. There are people who want to just submit their cards or sell them. So if you want faster priority in future grade reviews, the Discord server does offer a subscription starting at $4.99 and up. There's higher tiers, but any of them will give you priority over non-subscribers each week. There's a few people who take advantage of that. In addition, there's some other perks as well, such as monthly Discord sub giveaways, which we just gave away a Breakpoint Check Lane Blister with the Pikachu promo, and some other really good perks as well. So that is how you do it. Let's see. Sadly, I feel like American printing is hard to get 10s with how much they mass print. That is very true, Viking. We're kind of, it's weird. We're kind of getting back to the Wizards of the Coast era, where we're just trying to print to demand, and it doesn't matter about the little white specks. We're just trying to print. There's other way to display, still hard pull. Yes, I agree, Stroll. I think if anyone, it's kind of, you know, at the end of the day, if you get a really cool pull, that's really exciting. You know, like, yeah, like, you know, your card might not get a 10 or whatever, but that shouldn't ruin the fact that you just pulled a card that is someone's chase that they'll probably never get. Like, for example, my luck is awful, and I know I can never pull good cards. So when I hear you guys pulling really cool cards, that makes me excited for you, because that's a very huge accomplishment. It's super cool to pull chases like that. Corey and John, thank you for the follow. And as a side note too, if you guys are in the Linktree, I do have a new vendor POV video that just launched a few days ago. So if you want to take a look at how I do Pokemon vending and answer some questions, and honestly kind of give an insight on vending in general, on what are the things I look for, as well as some tips and tricks, that video is out now if you want to take a look at that as well. Yeah, I agree, Viking, for sure. So let's take a look at, like, for example, What's What probably pulled 2 Garchomps, which is a huge chase. Really cool card. Yeah, look at you, Viking. Demigod pack with a Charizard 151 Evo line. That's sick. So let's take a look at this bad boy. So again, Japanese, it's really honestly just the centering that gives us most of the issues. Top, bottom, left, right actually look really good. No issues there. And again, there's more like lighting on this right side. But corners look good. Edges look good. Yeah, it looks great. No problems there. I think this would probably be a 10 contender. And your second copy, which is pretty crazy. Same thing. Centering looks good. Corners look good. Surface looks fantastic. Like, I just love this artwork. I love that they're in a stadium. And the little flame up there. Really, really cool. The back. So this one actually is a really good... and I don't know, I would actually quiz you guys, but I don't know if you can even see it. So this is a really good example on something that might prevent this card from getting a 10, which is actually this ink dot error. So it's not like a true error in the sense that they would probably give you like kind of like a pass. But something like this may give you, may kind of put you at a 9 at best. Because again, it's a more or less a print defect, that you're kind of most likely have like a surface issue because of it. But since it's, so minimal and it's like really kind of out of your control, very similar to kind of the whitening on the corners, you might get a 9 for this alone, for that surface little ink dot issue. So just kind of keep that in mind, that just because that, yes, that came out like that out of the factory and whatever, it's no different than the whitening coming out of the factory on the corners. It's kind of, there's really, from that perspective, there's really not that big of a difference. So kind of keep that in mind, that even though that is out of your control completely and it's all factory made, with that ink missing, that might prevent you from getting the 10. Just purely, like, that's the reality that we're kind of in. It is what it is kind of thing. Andrew, thank you for following. I appreciate that. And I appreciate anyone that has followed that I have missed. Definitely appreciate it very much. If you guys are new here, welcome. What I'm doing right now, if you guys are here for the first time, I'm doing grade review where community members submit their cards in the Discord for a free grade review. I saw a creator suggest slightly shaving whitening off of a corner. Yeah, that is probably not a good recommendation. You know, even one of the Discord members actually submitted a card that came back as possibly altered, even though, you know, they didn't even do anything. The corner was in a way that appeared as though it was shaved, and they actually didn't grade it. You didn't see episode 66? I'll take a look, Cruisin'. I'm not too sure what happened. I'll take a look though. It might still be unlisted too. I might have just forgotten to make it public. So Giovanni's Persian. As a side note, this is probably one of the most difficult cards to grade as a PSA 10. Because of the holo to Pokemon ratio. And what I mean by that is in the holo area, the Persian itself is so much smaller when compared to all of the holo around it. So there's a lot more chances of this card being scratched or having issues. Other cards that kind of fit this category are Sabrina's Gengar, Dark Magneton, Vaporeon, Lapras. Like a lot of those cards kind of have that holo to Pokemon ratio that make it extremely difficult to get as a PSA 10. But we'll still take a look. A little bit thicker on this left side compared to the right, but I think we're within that range, so I'm not going to really measure it out. Here's another one that's a really good, again, this appears to be a little bit of a dirt mark or a blemish right where the tip of my mouse is. So that's, again, something that we can probably easily clean with a microfiber and a little bit of distilled water if it's really kind of stubborn, really stuck on there. Corners look good. Top, bottom, left, right look great. Edges look good. And honestly, from this angle specifically, I only see the one. Aries, thank you for the follow over on Twitch. Appreciate that very much. The holo looks really good, to be quite honest with you. Not seeing really much on here. It looks really good. Looks really good. On the back, so the back is where we're going to be kind of docking some of our points here. So the top right side, Sad Boys, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. So this right side, a little bit of whitening on that top right corner. And we really just kind of have a lot of dirt here. So we have one here on this left side. Cruisin', thank you for the follow. Appreciate that very much over on Twitch. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, we just have like a lot of like dirt, to be honest, like on this left side. A little bit of whitening on that left edge. A little bit of whitening on that bottom left corner. Whitening on the bottom right. And honestly, like a notable surface scratches here on the back. Wow. Jung, Sniper Guy, Chad, thank you guys for the follows. Appreciate that very much. Support tonight's crazy. Thank you guys so much. Some whitening here by the S&T and Monsters. So I would say if we're just looking at the front is actually in really good shape, with the exception of this little bit of dirt here that probably just be wiped off, no problem. And from what I can tell from this specific angle, I do not see any issues of scratching on this. Chad, once I am done with the Persian and the Zacian V, I will be glad to show you guys how to submit your card. So just hang tight for me real quick if you don't mind. So the front is actually really good. If we can get rid of that little bit of dirt above in the Meowth, that should be fine. The surface looks really good on the front. The back, however, is really kind of where we start to kind of get a little bit further from that 9 potentially. The reason why I say that is we have 2 bits of notable whitening on that right side, a little bit on the left, on that bottom left side. We also have some surface scratches here in this blue section, as well as some whitening or what appears to just be gunk or something like that on the surface next to the S&T. In addition, we also have that kind of same thing here on that left side as well. So those bits of dirt, I really feel like we can kind of just wipe those off and get cleaned, no problem. But it's really with the combination of the whitening and the mild scratching, it's definitely not a 7 contender, but I don't think it's a 9. I don't think it's mint. with kind of those whitening and these bottom part. But Near Mint Plus, I think it is a really good, strong grade, which would then equate to a PSA 8. So I think that this card, with everything that we're seeing on the front and the back, I think would be a strong PSA 8 contender, would be my guess. Thank you, Akan. Appreciate that. Appreciate the help. And next, we're going to be looking at the Zacian V here. So the centering, at first glance, that left side looks a bit thick, but I think we should be good. But I think this is good just to kind of, again, demonstrate how to quickly measure centering. Because again, guys, PSA just announced that if you purchase raw, ungraded cards from eBay at 250 or higher, you will now have the option to submit those cards directly to PSA for grading. So a lot of the things that we're seeing, you know, these are some of the techniques that you can kind of translate over. So let's take a look. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4.5 on that left side. And then on the right, we have, so right about there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4.5. So 4.5, 4.5. So that should be within 50-50. New here, where do you pick which cards? Yeah, I'll go over that once I'm done with this Zacian V Rise. So centering on the top and bottom, I think, again, are still within that range. Corners look great. And the back looks good, too. I don't see anything notable in the whitening. Top right corner looks good. Top left corner looks good. Left edge looks good. The corners and the surface look fantastic. So yeah, I think unless there's something with the surface on the textured side that we just simply can't see just due to the nature of the picture, I would probably say that this is this is a pretty good 10 contender. For sure. So I think if it were me, if you're looking for that 10 contention, I'd probably submit it, in my opinion. So now that we're done with that, I'll go over how to submit your cards for a future grade review, if you guys are wondering. So again, if you guys are watching me on Twitch, it's going to be in my description. If you're watching me on TikTok, it's going to be in my link in my bio. So once you're here, you're going to click or tap the Discord icon. Next, once you've joined the Discord, you're going to go to the grade review channel and submit your cards there. Just make sure to review the pinned messages on the rules and how to submit. It is completely free and always will be. The only kind of caveats is that it is a first come, first serve service. So the faster you can submit, the faster I'll be able to review you. But it will take some time because there are people obviously ahead. In addition, I'll review up to 5 cards per person per stream. You can submit as many as you want, but I'll only review the first 5, so on and so forth. So if you want to, submit your cards, submit them in the order that you want to be reviewed from most important to least important. However, if you guys want your cards assessed faster, and if you want priority grade review, the Discord server does offer a subscription starting at $4.99 a month, which not only gives you priority grade review, but also gives you some other perks. We just got done with a monthly giveaway where we gave away a Breakpoint Check Lane Blister with the Pikachu promo. We gave that to our Discord subs. So if you want to check that out and support me, and along with some other really cool stuff, definitely take a look at that. Top order is small. Doesn't look like 55-45. I would say it's within. We can really measure it, but it's a little bit of an angle, but we can certainly take a look. At first glance, it looked good to me, but let's take a look. Because we are, let's see, at 89, 90%, or 90 degrees rather. Let's see. So we go zoop. So we got, put that right there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the bottom. And we got from about, try to line this up here as best I can. So we got from there to there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got the 4 divided by 9. 4 divided by 9. So we got 44, 45. So it really just depends on if the person wants to round up or down, to be honest with you. But it's a good eye, though, regardless. Yeah, I'll take a look, cruising. So yeah, that's how you do it. In addition, if you guys also want to see a vendor POV, because I also vend as well, and kind of see some tips and tricks, I also kind of give some inner dialogue on some things to look out for if you guys are buying at conventions or trade shows. I also have a new vendor POV that is out now. That's also in my link in my bio. If you want to take a look at that and kind of see a different side of me as the Pokemon vendor guy, and that's how you do it. So, I'm gonna shift over here. So, what's up, guys? If you guys are seeing me for the first time over on TikTok, what's up? And before I wrap it up for the night, just wanted to see if there was anything else you guys wanted me to talk about. Just trying to wrap it up. So some of the announcements that I was kind of hinting at. So some of the sneak peeks for episode 70. So I stream every Wednesday starting at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern. One of the new things that I'm going to be trialing is I'm going to also be including price analysis for some of the cards that you guys submit. So for example, if you submit a card, I can kind of see what it is, its raw assessment, as well as its potential grade assessment to kind of further help you guys, figure out what, if it's worth grading, is it not worth grading. I'm also going to be announcing a partnership with another content creator with cleaning techniques that are kind of within the guidelines of grading, so there's no alteration still or anything like that. But I always prepare my cards before to get like Pokemon mold and all that stuff off, stuff like that. So I'm going to be announcing that next week as well. In addition to some other really cool perks and kind of revamping moving forward. So that's going to be the goal. So how's it going, Gryo? You always change your name like every week, but I always recognize the PFP. So I always have a queue I have a queue that I set per week per stream, Strow, because normally I'll review like 15 to 20 cards per week. Because again, I give pretty in-depth analysis on people's cards, so I don't want to like rush them and say, okay, I think it's an 8 next, I think it's a 9 next. I really want to make sure that I take my time per card. In addition, I have a lot that I have to catch up on because I do this as a side business, so I have a lot of cards in inventory. I actually have a show coming up June 8th that I have to prepare for. I just made my new vendor POV video, so I got a lot of stuff that I got to work on behind the scenes. So that's why Wednesdays are the most consistent. Another thing I'm going to be doing for subscribers is I'm going to be doing kind of reveals on cards that I pick up on during shows that you guys can claim. So I'm going to be offering that soon. So a lot more stuff to come, but I'll be making those announcements more officially next week. But yeah. So that's going to be it for me tonight, guys. I appreciate all the love, the likes, shares, and follows both on Twitch and TikTok. Always means a lot. Again, if you guys want to check out my new vendor POV video, I just dropped that out. The link is in the description, in the link tree, the one that's flashing on screen. If you want to take a look at that, that'd be appreciated. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. And again, I will be back Wednesday for episode 70. We've been doing this 70 times every Wednesday. I'll be back at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, reviewing more of your cards, hanging out and talking shop and nerding out over Pokemon. So I appreciate